All right. Hello, everybody. Make sure that's charging. Okay. How we all doing today? Let me set this somewhere so I can see what's going on here. Hope you're all having a good day. Today, we are going to be playing with the Faraday cage, the Tesla coil, the Van de Graaff generator. We're just going to kind of show that a Faraday cage is really good at blocking EMF or say a direct discharge to the box. But as far as the electric field goes, it doesn't block out an electric field. There's always an electric field inside everything unless you have a vacuum. If you can create a vacuum in a box, there will be no electric field in the center of that box, but around the edges. The electric field will gather to the matter and stick there. So there's still an electric field inside of a vacuum chamber. It's just not filling all the available space because there's no matter there for it to go through, if that makes sense. So in nature, of course, there are no vacuums. So there's no place here that doesn't contain an electric field. Everything has an electric field surrounding it. Now it all comes from above. Somehow, some way, somewhere, there's something above us that is creating this huge positive potential compared to the ground. And it creates a field. Now, in order to have a field, you need what is called a dielectric. And that is an insulator in between like two Gaussian surfaces. So you have anything up here, any kind of a Gaussian surface can be any shape, but we'll just say it's a pizza tray, for example, like the demonstrations I use. So you have a pizza tray up here and a pizza tray down here. Now you can't have, salt water or copper connecting these two. That would be considered a conductor. And all of the energy would run straight through, from the quickest point, from here to there. So you need a dielectric, which is an insulator, pretty much. You know how we have rubber going around our wires. If you put another wire up against that wire, you have two electric fields running through that wire, but they're blocked by that insulator right there. So I'm sure there's a little bit of cool stuff happening inside of all the wires that run parallel to each other. But most of those are on AC, so I'm not really sure. That'd be interesting to see. So I hope you all are having a good day. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? Will somebody let me know in chat? Um, hey, Brian. Yeah, if you guys can hear me talking, I hope I'm not sitting here talking to myself. But, okay, awesome. Thank you guys so much. Hey, Bill, good to see you, man. So I'll show you what we got going on down here. All right, so we have our setup. And we have our EMF meter here. I don't want to get this too close. What is on the EMF meter you're seeing right here on the screen. This is what I'm seeing on the meter, but this is what I'm really interested in. It's a lot more accurate than this one here. And as you can see, we're maybe 2 inches off the ground right there. Now, the reason why I have it up off the ground is because inside the Faraday cage, I set everything on an insulator. So it's not touching the walls of the Faraday cage. So we are getting a 0 volts per meter reading there still, which is interesting. And it's going up to about 9.5 volts. Now, to show you guys the electric field before we start putting it in the cage and anything like that, all I'm going to do is lift this up and change the elevation. So what we should see here now is the baseline, this bottom line right here, the minimum, will no longer be 0. Once it starts reading over here, since it's elevated up off the ground, like it is right there, you see that? On an insulator, it's now picking up the electric field at this level. So you can see we're up to 59 volts. We were at 9 volts there a little bit ago. And by moving it up, what, maybe 2.5, 3 feet, 2.5 feet, it is now up to 59 volts maximum. And we're going to get the minimum here in a second. That big spike on the EMF meter, you can see that was just me touching it right there. And this part of the screen is just a bunch of pictures I have. I wish I could slideshow it. I'm not sure how to do that. Slideshow. There we go. No, don't do that. All right, we're gonna have to stop that. Fushnikins. We need to give it a second anyway to, okay, we're just gonna close this out. And then I will bring up, yeah, we'll just go like this. I'll just switch through them every once in a while. But they're just pretty pictures I've taken. And I never share them or show them anymore. So I figured I would for you all. They're just pretty pictures. Now I'm just giving it a second to really level out. So as you can see, our minimum here is now 29 volts, and we're maxing out at 54. So just by raising it a little bit up into the air, it's now reading the potential there. Wow. Look at that changing now. Whoa, what was that? Yeah, me moving around some of this electronic equipment and stuff is gonna, another pop, another flat earther was born. So yeah, so that's here. I'll move it back down again and we'll just watch it. So that's Earth's electric field. Look at that, right down. Again, we're not touching the ground. But you can see it just drops right off the chart. The difference in electric potential just here in the air. Now we are on concrete, which is a good insulator. So it's, you really almost need like a dirt floor. You know, you need to be on the ground with not a lot of electrical stuff around. But you can still do things like this in a lab. But if you want the, 100% the Earth's electric field, it's best to even be like way out in the middle of a field that's perfectly flat, no trees around, no undulations. And that way, the electric field is nice and level there, or even out on the water, nice calm water would be a great place to do your electric field measurements. Because yeah, as soon as you start throwing trees and stuff around that are grounded, remember all those, it's going to be 100 volts per meter at the top of that tree, and then it's going to have to come down and get with the ground. And yeah, the electric field is doing some crazy stuff when it comes to buildings and trees and just stuff like that. So okay, we're getting our baseline. We're back to 0 and 5 volts per meter down there real close to the ground. So you see, that's the measurement in the electric field that we all can do. Anybody, everywhere on Earth, can measure the electric field. It's there. It's around us at all times. It never, ever shuts off. God, that would be crazy if it shut off. I pray it doesn't. But yeah, okay, so now we're going to put it inside a Faraday cage. We'll set it on the ground. The Faraday cage will be grounded. And we'll see what happens. So right now we're getting a 0 to, we got an 8.5 spike there for some reason. wonder if it's me pointing at it or moving around. I don't know. No, because I'm pretty much grounded. Okay, so we're gonna put it in the Faraday cage. Well, we'll show you the Faraday cage real quick. Okay, let's find another picture here. I like this one. Oh, old barn in Indiana. Okay, so here is the Faraday cage. Right here. Now a Faraday cage can be made out of aluminum, copper, chicken wire. I mean, the holes can be huge. They can, I mean, some Faraday cages, you know, they're big enough you can stick your arm through when they have people that know what they're doing. Now they started making Faraday cages smaller than your finger at a lot of the testing sites where people can go and stand inside a cage and get hit by lightning. Because if you stick your finger through that hole, it'll kill you. You know, that electricity is just right on the other side of that. It just can't get through those holes. It follows the path of least resistance and goes straight down. You can even touch the inside of the Faraday cage. You just can't stick your finger through it. So this is my Faraday cage. It's actually a double Faraday cage. We have 2 layers of insulation. I don't want to peel it back too much, but as you can see right here, there's a layer of card or styrofoam right here on the outside of this box, and then there's also a layer on the inside of the box. Oh, there, you can see that little layer right through here. That's styrofoam as well. So it's double layered inside out, and then we have our insulator right here. So nothing inside will be actually touching the Faraday cage. We'll be just measuring the electric field. So we will go ahead and let me set this up for a second here. Let me, yeah, okay. All right, so we're going to take our meter. It's going to spike now that I pick it up. So we're going to put it inside the Faraday cage on our insulator. Now, before we close it, I want to show you something. I'm going to take my phone and put it inside. And I want you to watch the what happens when we put this in a phone inside with this. It's going to trap all those signals and everything inside, and we should see a spike in here. Yeah, it's got Wi-Fi running, so that should put off a good. Look at that, the radio frequency spiked big time. Now you'll notice the electric field really didn't go up too much. And it's going, what, radio went down. Maybe, let me turn something on so we're actually using the phone. Okay, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. We don't need to watch this one. We'll just click it on anything here. Come on. Okay. Now look at that go up. So it's definitely blocking. I'll open it back up. Pull the phone out. Wow, that one had a big old spike. And there you go, back way down. So it traps things in there. Our Faraday cage is working. It is, and that was even without the top on. So our Faraday cage is sound. It is doing what it's supposed to do. Okay, get that all fit in there nice and snug. All right, we're gonna give it a second. We're gonna let the electric field in there settle down because had my hands in there, all that stuff was in there. Maybe even discharge it a little, and we'll see what happens. So our minimum is back to 0 that quickly. Now it is a little bit more up off the ground in there than it was right there. So we might get a little bit higher of a spike. But because the Faraday cage is grounded, it also has the potential of the ground. There we go. So we're getting about 15 volts max per meter at that elevation. And the ground is at 0. So now we are going to pop it up here. Stay. And look at that. Our baseline has now gone up along with our maximum potential. They have both gone up. You can see right here. This is where we're looking. So it did not block the electric field that was out here. You know, it did not stop the electric field, the potential inside from raising up. Just like when we had the meter outside, as we lifted it up off the ground, the baseline went up and the maximum went up and had a new line. Well, inside of a Faraday cage, the exact same thing happens. There is no blocking Earth's electric field. Like I said, the only way you can do that is by creating a vacuum. So that's why, you know, there's no way to isolate this. This cannot be, according to, the scientific method, tested scientifically. You cannot remove yourself from an electric field. Just like the laws of thermodynamics cannot be tested scientifically. You can't remove yourself from this place to actually test it scientifically. There's no way to do it. So that's why these are laws. They're laws of nature, laws of physics. Electricity, whether you want to believe it or not, is natural. The electric field is natural. Because you can't see it with our limited human senses does not mean it does not exist. So that's like saying a magnetic field doesn't exist. Magnets don't really attract to each other because you can't see why it happens. That's ridiculous. If you want to box yourself in and put yourself in this little box of just the human senses, then go ahead. But we have meters and, all kinds of them to measure temperature, potential differences in everything, pressure, heat. I mean, electrostatics, electromagnetics. Now, and that's another thing. So we're at a 40 minimum and a 55 maximum. So not much difference there than it not being in a Faraday cage. So that should put to rest the whole idea that a Faraday cage somehow blocks Earth's electric field. Now there are electrical field phenomena that it will help shield, like big pulses in the electric field, and that's what we're gonna show you now. So let's take this and we're gonna set this back down. I'll set this down here. We're gonna pull it out of the Faraday cage. Set it here, let it level out. And I've noticed that the electric field was higher just by having the Faraday cage near it, which was pretty neat. So we're going to give it a second. Look at that ground right out. Okay, and first we're going to play with the Van de Graaff generator and create just some discharges, some good like lightning strikes. And then we'll break out the Tesla coil and create our own field. We should be energizing the field right here around us. Okay, we're almost there at the baseline. So how's everybody doing? That Flat Fellow, Calvin Morrison, Effie Nation, Dean Floyd, the Jolly Man, Wella Manuel, Gubbin. Who else we got? Bill. Much love, man. Effie Nation, Nemo, Brian, DCB, Love Kung Fu, Renee. Thank you all so much. If I missed Karen B, much love, sis. If I missed anybody, Sherry Ives, love you. All right, I think that's it for the shout outs. Yes, Bill, they only hold out specific frequencies. Not even a drop in the boat, but more like a molecule in the ocean. Yeah, exactly. Well, like a microwave oven is a Faraday cage, and that little screen there that you can see through, the holes are just small enough so microwaves don't pass through them. You know, and then the ones with chicken wire, where you have a big, 1.5 inch, 2 inch hole there, that one's going to be a lot more for big radio frequencies. I mean, some radio waves are enormous. They're just huge. These big giant antennas that, yeah, Bob knows all about that stuff, the measurements and this and that, and how big the wave will be, and that's where they lose me. I got a lot of learning to do. I don't want to say I'll never learn it, but I got a lot of learning to do with respect to radio frequencies and how they. I know it's a transverse longitudinal wave. That means you have your electric field or your electricity, not an electric field so much, and your magnetism, and they do the loop where they cross over. And they come, they hit that point and then make their loops and hit the point and make their loops. And it looks like two snakes almost doing a dance. That's electromagnetics. Now, what we're talking about here and what the Earth has as an electric field is different. These are scalar waves. This is, and that something with electric potential, two things that are somewhat close together, and they're creating this dielectric, this area between the two electric potentials where matter interacts in a certain way, if that makes any sense. It's a scalar wave. It's a different, there's no magnetism involved in this. It's completely electrostatic. And that's one thing that people need to grasp, is that there's a big difference between electromagnetic and electrostatic. So we got a 0 baseline and a 12 max. All right, so let's play with the Van de Graaff. We're going to see if we can't get any spikes here with just some discharges that go off. So turn the Van de Graaff around this way. Start charging it up. Ooh, yeah, I'm feeling it. So are we going up at all without a discharge? No, not really. Okay, here we go. Wow, I didn't see anything. Maybe I need to be closer. See, the thing is, I don't want to. this isn't some $10 meter. This is, you know, 100 and, ooh, there's a big giant spike. Well, not a big giant one. Getting some good popping going on. I'm not really seeing it do a whole lot. Because, I mean, we're getting some of them. See that? We're getting some spikes. 66 volts per meter. Maybe just a little bit closer here. I don't want to get too close. Let it charge up a little bit. I can feel it, definitely. As soon as I started turning, I felt it on my face and my head. So this really isn't doing too much, the Van de Graaff generator. Even with the meter outside of it, we're getting some good discharging. I don't know how well you all can hear that. 81. Now we're getting some spiking to happen. Maybe this is how I had to do it. Yeah, it looks like it's going pretty steady now. We're getting more of a, oh wow, 107. Okay, so yeah, we're definitely picking up that electric field right there. So now we will. I just had to do it for a while. I'm going to pull out our Faraday cage and see how well it blocks against discharges. And we will even do some discharging right on the cage to see how well it stops that. Because that's what it's really for. They say, you know, can a Faraday cage stop a lightning? What it's supposed to do, as long as the Faraday cage is grounded, it will keep all of that electricity on the outside of the cage and then running to the ground. You won't get any type of large discharges within the cage. Now, does that mean that it completely stops the electric field from going up inside a Faraday cage? I don't know. Let's take a look and see. So yeah, there have been a lot of misconceptions about electricity. And I understand it when you're trying to disprove something, you kind of just, you know, go with whatever sounds good, but you really need to test stuff out and test it properly. I mean, do your due diligence, your research, try to comprehend what is actually going on and what they're actually saying. I've gotten so many questions about a neutral and a positive. A neutral is attracted to a positive, and a neutral is attracted to a negative. It's like, well, yeah, neutral is just the baseline of Earth. That's neutral isn't zero. It's not no charge. The Earth has a charge. Everything that's touching it just has like the same charge. Okay? And if you have something higher than that, you have a potential difference. So the positive will go to that negative. Just like if you have a negative, the Earth would be now considered positive to that, and they will attract to each other. So yes, that happens, but you're not understanding what neutral means, and it's just a frame of reference. It's like 0 degrees Fahrenheit. You know, there's still temperature below that. There's still heat going on. It's not a lot of heat, but there's enough heat that it's not, you know, 0 degrees Kelvin. That's the coldest we can get anything. They say that's when matter, you know, stops moving, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if that's true, but 0 degrees Fahrenheit doesn't mean that there's no heat below that. It's not like below that it's just, you know, there's like an opposite, a cold. No, 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 no. It's pressure mediation. It's all heat. It's just different variances of heat. Now, the matter in between there and what happens to that matter at those different temperatures is neither here nor there. Okay? It's the fact that you have heat at the bottom and you have heat way up at the top. But nowhere is there, cold. Cold is not part of it. That's like saying, cold would be considered zero pressure or negative pressure, which is not possible. You can't have zero pressure, so you obviously can't have less than zero pressure. That's nonsense. Everything is pressure mediation. Okay, so we have it in there. We got our baseline going. We're 0 to 12. I'll get this about right here, and we'll just start discharging this. I'll charge it up a little bit first and see if the minimum or the maximum changes at all. Oh, look at that. What do you know? The electrostatic somehow got through the Faraday cage and are hitting that meter. So even a discharge that's taking place away from the Faraday cage does not get blocked by a Faraday cage. I don't know how else I can show you guys this besides doing it, or try it. This was easy to make. It took some time, cutting styrofoam and gluing it all together and gluing the aluminum foil on there and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it took me a few hours to get it all just right. But you can build one of these at home. And I mean, the meter's a little expensive, but there's nothing here I'm doing that other people can't do. But if you want to disprove something, you gotta at least go try it first. I don't know how else to explain this stuff other than showing you and telling you to go try it yourself. Okay, so we saw right there that the electric field that was being discharged over here got through the Faraday cage. Pull this back out. Now we're going to try it with the Tesla coil. Well, let's do it all in the same. We had it. Now this one, I'm going to move the Tesla coil back to start it off. You got to be careful with these stronger Tesla coils. This one goes up to only 24 volts. That's the neatest part about it. Because this Tesla coil has so many coils, it will take, well, we're going to see here. The last one, I think, went up to like 2200 volts, the other Tesla coil it put off into the air. Now, we had the meter pretty close to it, and it started messing with the meter. That's why I'm definitely going to keep it away from it this whole time, so you can at least see it. Okay, our baseline's coming up. Barn dance, yeah. Here, I'll find you another picture while we're waiting instead of just sitting here. Let me see. Close that one out. What the heck? Where are my pictures? There they are. Okay. this one. That was right down the road from my house back in Indiana. I used to drive by that every morning, every day. The only thing I miss about Indiana is the flatness. You don't realize how used to the terrain you live in you get to, how used you get to living in that type of environment. And when it changes, it's weird. It's like a shell shock almost. Okay, so we have our coil plugged in. I am good, at least 6 feet away from the computer. Very good. At least 3 feet away from that. Very good. Okay. So here we go. Turned all the way down. Wow, that's with 1 volt. Look at that. That's with 1 volt of electricity. I'm going to turn it up to, we'll go to 5 volts. Whoa. Okay. Wow. This thing really puts off a lot more power than that other one. Holy smokes. So look at that spike. 94 volts. So more than the discharge of the Van de Graaff generator. And I only went up to 5 volts right there. A quarter of what it can take. I just don't want to mess up any of the equipment. Um, Once I figure out a good place to do the Tesla coil where I know it's safe away from everything, then I'll start doing some more videos with the gases and stuff like that. I just don't want to destroy anything. There's a lot of fancy equipment in this house when it comes to computers and stuff. Bob and Jaron and Cammy, they all got their own and they're all nice computers. I don't want to mess up anything around here. So I want to be super duper duper careful. We almost got our our baseline back. Actually, we saw what it did. I'm going to grab the Faraday cage again. That was crazy. That was just up to 5 volts. 5 volts. And it went up there. Okay. Take this, set it in here. Need more super glue. Take our top, put it on there, put it in the box, put it in the box, boom, boom. Okay, so we're closed up. We're going to let that, here, I'm going to scoot this a little bit more over this way. But we're going to let it level out. We'll find another picture. See how everybody's doing in chat. Yeah, Epi Nation, I was talking about that earlier a little bit. To test, the Earth's true electric field, you really need to be away from even trees. Trees will mess up your electric field. They, yeah, because anything that's grounded, your electric field is going to bend around it. All that potential will be around it because that tree is going to be neutral, the same as the Earth. So anything protruding off the Earth is going to mess with your electric field a little bit. Even being inside, the house like this, we're kind of in a Faraday cage. Um, your car is a Faraday cage itself. That's why you need an antenna outside your car for your radio to work to pick up those RF waves because you can't have the antenna in the car because you have a metal box surrounding you. Even the big windshield, you know how big your windshield glass is an insulator as well. No, the wire actually, this thing is designed to be able to hook it up to the wire and it doesn't, I'm sure they have a Faraday cage in there that's controlling everything that goes into that wire and wire connecting to the sensors and all that. It's all protected by these Faraday cages. I would love to be able to show you what's going on in the meter, with the Graaff without the wire, but unfortunately it doesn't let me do that. Even if I record the data in there, um, it won't pop up in a graph. It'll come out in a spreadsheet, and it's just a pain in the butt. Yeah, the cages need to be grounded for the electricity to dissipate off of it. Like if you're putting really high potentials into the air, then you're um, oh, I forget what I was doing. I was thinking of the car again. Like your car is on insulated tires, big rubber tires, but it's still a Faraday cage, and it'll block RF signal. So to block RF signals, you're fine. And a lightning strike will go, the insulator of that tire is not enough to stop that lightning strike. So for most people in a car, the electricity will go on the outside of the car, into the tire, and down in. Probably destroy your tires. But the electricity shouldn't hit you on the inside of the car. It shouldn't, unless you have windows open or something like that, or there's a hole somewhere that's big and not properly sealed off. Um, yeah, when it's grounded. Now, if you hit something that's not grounded and it doesn't have a way to go to ground, then all that electric potential on the outside will then give the opposite potential on the inside of it. But our Faraday cage is sitting on the ground, so it's neutral with the house. Yeah, it would have a common ground, but not a ground. Yeah. Okay, so we have a good baseline here. Let's see, some prettiness of Indiana. This is a pretty one. There's fall in Indiana. All right. So we have our baseline going on our Faraday cage. We have our Tesla coil set up a couple feet away. It's further away than the Van de Graaff generator. Now remember, there's no. Well, let's keep an eye on that EMF up there, that 1.2, 1.3 right there. Let's see if it does go up when I turn this Tesla coil on. So we're going to go to 1 volt. There we go. We'll see if anything happens. Oh yeah, look at that, with just 1 volt. So inside that Faraday cage is picking up the electric field being put off by that Tesla coil at just 1 volt. But as you can see, the EMF really didn't go up at all. It's been bouncing around between 1.2 and 1.4. So we're not creating an electromagnetic field with the Tesla coil. It's an electric field. Remember, this is scalar, not transverse longitudinal. Now we're going to go up to 5 and see how well it blocks it out. Whoa. Interesting, though, it came back down. But right back up. Well, yeah, because it's grounded. So look at the difference. And as you notice, the EMF is still 1.4 to 1.2. Oh, 1.5, we went up a hair. And now we're gonna go back down to 1. Bloop, drops off. And then we'll even turn it off, 0 volts. So there you go, folks. A Faraday cage does not block the electric field. Dang, 1022 volts max. It actually, I don't know. I'm going to play with it a lot more. I don't want to say anything like, oh, it did this or it did that. I mean, it's still on. There we go. Okay, not touching it. Last night, I was playing with it live on Iron Raw Media. And I had the gas tubes, the tubes filled with the different natural gases. And I accidentally touched the coil and it singed the hair. It burned it, the hair on my finger. So this is putting out a lot more power than my other Tesla coil, for sure. And I need to be careful. But it's good practice, learning it, small stuff and then going up. And I probably would have killed myself if I would have got that Tesla coil. That there was a school that was going to donate it to Cammy and me, like a 6-foot Tesla coil. But yeah, probably good I didn't get that. So how long have we been going, folks? What time is it? About an hour. Need more power. Well, that's what they claim, though. I'm still not like sold on the whole molecule thing or atoms. Gases is a tricky one. You know, what is it really? I don't know. I know that you need these gases to that's our dielectric. The atmosphere is our dielectric. It seems to be hard for electricity to penetrate through the air. Maybe because it's so not dense, you know, like the denser something is, the more electric potential it can hold. Well, if you have a bunch of things, I don't even know if it's a bunch. I don't know what gas is. I have no clue. Same thing with water, even matter itself. I'm not convinced it's a bunch of little tiny things all stuck together. That's just me. I don't know. But we do know what happens to all these different types of matter when they're put into a dielectric, you know, into a dielectric between two different electric potentials. Certain things always happen, hands down, no matter where you are, you know, that's why they're laws. It's not a law that takes place every once in a while. These are fundamental laws of physics that you can't just hand wave dismiss. You can't. Anybody can go out and measure this stuff. So we're back to wow, there's still a lot of electricity in the air. Remember, it used to be like maybe that's me by the box. See if we get a big jolt here. No. So it seems like we've raised the electric field almost double. We were going up to 9 before, I think. Maybe 12. Maybe it didn't do too much. It's definitely gonna mediate out and level out with the natural field here. But you can excite it and do things. Um, Interestingly, they found that playing with the electric field with plants, like putting a big mesh of positive charge above, like creating your own Gaussian surface, and a negative below. And by increasing the electric field, the bugs grew bigger, the plants grew bigger, everything in there grew bigger just by increasing the electric field. And then they found out, well, they didn't want the bugs to get bigger. So they started going into certain frequencies and running it on an alternating current. So it would be like, it was hit with these frequencies at one point, and then it would switch over to this frequency, which was bad for the bugs, but didn't hurt the plants, while the other one was good for the plant and didn't really affect the bugs. They found, and this was done back in the 1920s, I believe, maybe the teens. Lucas had showed this to me, and they got amazing results. So there's so much that's been lost to, our educational system, this horrific thing that we have going on here in the world, really. I can't really speak for too many. I mean, I don't know what they're teaching in places like Iran or, places that we have no contact with. We don't know what they're teaching their students. What if they are teaching flat earth in some places still? There's places in the world that we're, compartmentalized. We don't get to reach out and talk to everybody. As connected as this place is, there's still places that are kind of off limit. But yeah, it's the educational system. It needs to change. A lot more homeschooling going on out there, but it needs to be more prevalent of an issue. I understand parents have to put food on the table and clothes and books and the new Nikes for school and all that kind of stuff, and you don't have time. But yeah, that's not only their future, that's our future. I mean, I know I got a few more years on this place, and I'd rather have the people that are, in charge of stuff when I get old to have at least half a brain. So it's really up to us to educate the future. Schools aren't going to do it. Not knocking teachers. I mean, you're doing, what you think is right. You're teaching what you were taught. You're just, they're not bad people by any means. But we need to start educating our youth. And we need to let them play with this stuff. Mirroscopes, Tesla coils, all this stuff, Van Graaff generators. I never saw any of this stuff in school. Ferrocells. I mean, there's all kinds of cool stuff that would make children love physics. Yeah, just the Tesla coil sitting next to it makes it go up a little bit. It's wild. Then it turned with a positive ion, holding a positive charge, nothing is going. Oh, flea collar, frequency flea collar. That's a good idea, Bill. I know they've tried a lot of stuff with frequencies and pests and whatnot, but I don't know if anybody's really quite nailed it yet. So hey, that went really well. I am so happy that, I mean, I only went to 5 volts, but yeah, with only 5 volts, we went up to 1044 volts inside the Faraday cage with 5 volts going to that Tesla coil. It raised the electric field inside the Faraday cage. So again, when you hear people saying, oh, the electric field is blocked by a Faraday cage, in no way, shape, or form does it. I just showed you. Do you think it's a parlor trick or something like that? Try it yourself. I mean, that's all. I don't know how else to convince people. We will be bringing, maybe I should bring the Faraday cage to Flattoberfest and show some of this stuff. That might be a good one for people to see in person. We'll see. So yeah, I think that's gonna do it, folks. I'm gonna play with the Tesla coil a little. And once I find that right place to play with it. I want it to be inside because it's dry in here. It's really humid outside. But I don't want to destroy anything. So it's kind of a conundrum. This is why we need a flat earth lab. This right here. So we can have a place where, you know, we can test all this stuff in a safe environment where we're not going to be destroying things. It'll happen. I'm just going to keep putting it out there into the ether. Flat earth lab. Flat earth lab. Well, all right, folks. Hope you all enjoyed that. Oh, it's my pleasure, Cam. Whoa. Scooter Orr. Got some stuff from Ed Leeds Galleon's Castle. Hey, my pleasure, Richie. I hope that helped a little bit. Yeah, this stuff, I mean, we're not really taught this stuff until you get into certain levels, and even then, people don't always comprehend what they're being taught. You know, they know that it does this and that and this, and they get it right on the test, and then they may never use a Faraday cage in their life during their career. You know, 75% humidity, yeah, that's still pretty much up there. But yeah, we will be doing some more playing around and testing. Um, I'll see if Bob wants me to do some recording, maybe live tomorrow, or we can do it. I can just record some stuff and then he can show it. Maybe I can just cut up this video a little bit, show him what's going on. But yeah, that was fun. I try to keep them, about an hour. Unhook this, and yeah, I promise we'll get some new video with the Tesla coil. As soon as I figure out a good place to play with it. That kind of freaked me out. It got that powerful with just 5 volts going to it. It does have, like my other Tesla coil had so many winds, and that's where you really get your amplification from. The more coils that it has, the more it's going to boost that potential. And then I have a much bigger. I have a much bigger. The other one was just a little washer, about yay big. And this has a lot more mass to it, so it can hold a lot more potential before it starts distributing it. And then we have this nice cooling system right here for the. This is super important because these things heat up, and if you want to put on displays for more than 30 seconds, you really need to have something that's going to help it cool down your transistors in there. But my next Tesla coil will definitely be a spark gap. It will be bigger, and I will be able to hook the negative right into the ground, and we're going to do some wireless transmission. And I think I will be able to take some of these Tesla coils and actually catch that energy by hooking the negative down into it and maybe hooking the positive. I don't know. I'll figure. I'll figure this out. But yeah, I want to send it wirelessly through the ground like Tesla, at least on a small scale once to see that it's possible. So yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun with this stuff, folks. A lot of learning to do, a lot of playing. Um, it wasn't too expensive. I only paid like 50 something bucks for that, but it wasn't the highest quality. So I'm not going to recommend it. Um, there's lots of people building them now. The prices are coming down, but when I find a good place that builds a nice quality, like my other one was a nice quality one. It was very small and didn't take that much power, but the quality of the material used and the circuit board and all that. This doesn't have a circuit board at all. It's just wires. I really do like it that it doesn't have a circuit board. Here, I'll show you guys what's going on in here. Now I already had to MacGyver this one because the power source didn't fit with the coupling. So I had to remove the coupling and I just ran straight wires. But the orange ones are the ones I put on right in here. Oh, those two orange ones. But there is no circuit board in here. It's just wires. You have your power source coming in. The negative is running to your resistor and to this right here. I forget what they call that, but that's like your low potential at the bottom. You create this one for your low potential at the bottom of the coil. And then it runs over through another resistor and runs to this light right here, and then up to a capacitor. And then you have your positive that comes in through the power. It looks like it's going straight. Oh, there's got to be something in here because the positive and negative are connecting before they get to that resistor. Then it comes out over here, goes into the resistor that the negative is going through, straight to the transistor. Yeah, it's not complicated at all. I mean, there's no circuit board in there at all. It's just wires, a couple resistors, a capacitor, and some transistors. So this is actually, I like it more like this because it doesn't have the circuit board and I can actually see what they're all connecting to and how it all works. But like I said, the quality of the material used wasn't that high. And I'm just not going to promote something that I don't think is of quality. I mean, you get what you pay for. For the price, not bad. If you want something that's just going to, get you started off playing and learning, it wouldn't be a bad thing to get. But if you want something that's going to last a while and, I don't know how well this material is going to hold up. So that's it, folks. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you all so much for joining me. That was fun. We will do it again maybe next weekend. Maybe after Karen B Monday. I don't know. I got some figuring stuff out to do with this coil. So, yeah, thank you all for joining me. And you all have a great day, evening, night, whatever it is. This is Good Times for All here signing out. As always, thanks for watching.